I was on the Keep Purring podcast with Ben and Eric. Everyone watch that. Download it. Subscribe to their channel. Damn it. Everyone needs to watch that. They're fun. They're dads. They're relatable. They're cool. And
they're great people. Awesome
great people. And they're turning out like they came out like gangbusters. Like they got Twitter stuff, they got YouTube, they got a podcast, and I was like, geez, I just have this, and I can't even get into my Twitter right now on my iPhone. I don't know how. They locked me out. Elon is mad at me. Is what it is. All right. But yeah, now we were saying, people think, we just want to watch Bryce develop, we want to see him make strides, but now we want our first game, and it feels like to a lot of people that this could be the start of something. I don't know if you can see the banner. Panthers poised for a win streak. So
see it.
We're taking on the Colts, then the Bears, then the Cowboys, then the Jags, and who else do we take? The Titans. And so, has your outlook for the team changed a little bit after seeing what winning football looks like in a Carolina Panther uniform with Bryce Young and Thomas Brown at the helm?
I'd say yes and no. I don't know if you feel the same way, Phil. I think you could see the possibility of winning. So as you would know, or even when we had that almost undefeated season, you don't have to win pretty. You just have to win a game. You just have to have more points than the other team. And so, of course, there's flaws. Of course, there's things that need to be fixed. Of course, I hate the line. I hate that Bryce Young gets demolished in the backfield almost every play. Receivers that can't separate. But with a strong defense, with just incremental growth week after week, it's okay, they have a possibility of winning. I mean, we're not expecting a Super Bowl contender, but they are capable of putting on a win streak, especially against teams like the Colts and the Bears. Why not? Exactly, why not? And it's funny, the second Eddie Pinheiro kicked that field goal to win the game, I already started seeing one tweet. I already thought, we're only 2.5 games back. Only 2.5 games back. The division is still ours, and I think we all correctly predicted that Bryce Young would be the best quarterback in the NFC South. Calvin Ritter is not even playing anymore. They're in the Taylor Heineke stage in the grief process. He's starting. They got Baker Mayfield, who I think the enthusiasm, the momentum could eventually run out. And Derek Carr just seems to be a broken man. And so I think Bryce is the right guy, but now we're seeing, it's clicking a little bit. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers made a little bit of a run. It's funny you talked about the Bryce Young getting blasted. He got sacked 6 times on Sunday, and I'm watching I watched the QB school. Suddenly JT O'Sullivan is the QB guy now. He's got 300,000 subs. He does a great time. Forget that he talks for 45 minutes straight, and you don't even see his face. He's getting crazy views, and shout out to him. He had Adam Thielen in the crosshairs. Now it's looking a little bit like Ike Ekwonu's getting a little bit of the fans' ire. It's dude, what happened? What are you thinking about 79? I mean, I watched the same episode. It's fun. He's not even a Panthers fan per se, but it feels like he understands our culture, understands where we're coming from. Ike, I mean, it has to be said multiple times. He's still young. He's still a second year. There's still room for improvement. Growth is not linear. So this one day it clicks and it accelerates, right? But it would be prudent to have a backup plan. I mean, I know people talked about in the offseason about Ike at guard, but after seeing this year, I don't think anyone would be upset. It's let's put Ike at guard. People would be upset. So, maybe in the offseason they let's see how the rest of the season goes, obviously first. But if he's not the guy, I mean, he could be an all-pro guard, and so that's not a bad thing. And if you could solidify that left tackle, you put Ike at guard, then all of a sudden, it's not so bad. But it's pretty rough. And I know maybe it was hidden last year the way that they ran their offense. It was all run heavy, which is to Ike's strengths. But to let Bryce develop, it's almost like he's stunted because of Ike, fair or unfair. And also, he could still develop from this. But as of right now, as of this whole season, I mean, it's embarrassing. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough seeing that because, he's a top 10 pick. We've seen him. He was described as a road grader in the draft process. And right now he's doing things that I honestly, maybe just because I haven't been paying attention to left tackle play, but he does things that I haven't seen a left tackle do. He dips his head and his shoulders, and he submarines himself, and he's standing up so straight. And if you look at him walking, he's got knock knees. And I don't know if I have a little bit of knock knee situation. I don't know if that plays a part in it, but Yeah, it's very strange. And I was looking at Leo Collins, who didn't have a team. He was let go by the Bengals. I thought maybe he could be a pickup because you don't have to trade, right? I don't think you could just pick
Yep.
him up. And
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe he'd make a call, but he's been working out for the Giants. I think he worked out for the Jets, but he hasn't worked out for the Panthers, which, I guess they have faith in James Campen and in Ike Ekwonu. But suddenly our off season looks like, okay, we need like a true, burner wide receiver, and maybe another one, and maybe a left tackle or a backup, or maybe just an unreal chemistry of Brady Christensen. And there, Dave Sullivan talked about that miscommunication between himself and the guard, and that guard is normally Brady Christensen. So maybe Brady's kind of like his safety net. I don't know, but yeah. Well, what did you think about that? The Panthers did nothing. How did you read into that in the trade deadline? That Scott Fitterer. First of all, where is that guy? Where did he go? Traded all those picks for Bryce Young, and he's here we're one QB away. He's got to plop him down, bing bang boom. And where is he? Well, so what are your thoughts on the lack of action, at least confirmed action? I'm sure there was a lot of phone calls, but how do you dissect the fact that the Panthers are basically riding with this squad?
Yeah, it's going to be remain to be said as long as the season progresses the same way it's been going on. But the him and the rest of the front office, Samir Suleiman, Dan Morgan, Scott Fitterer, like there's a big crosshairs on them. It's like, hey, all the challenges that we're talking about in this offensive line, wide receivers that can't separate. There was only one person who put these ingredients together, and that was Scott Fitterer in this offense and it's his front office. And so if you're going to say, these are the issues, and these issues stem from the person who put all these players together, then you got to say like, hey, like maybe you're not doing, maybe we could do a better job in personnel or evaluation, right? Funny side story: when I went to Seattle, I met a guy, and he was holding up this big sign that said "Pay Brian Burns." And we saw the front office guys walk past us, and we yelled to Samir Suleiman, like, Samir. Turns around, we hold up the sign, we're pointing to "Pay Brian Burns," and he kind of just scoffs, pretends he didn't see us, and just kind of turned away. And so I don't even know where they're at with Brian Burns. I don't even know where we're at with the trade deadline. I think part of me is relieved that we didn't burn more picks, because all the picks they've been trading to get people, other than Bryce Young, have been questionable or questionable upgrades at best. But it would be nice if they, turn some of these players into picks. But I'm just assuming that, we're an 0-6 team. The talent doesn't seem like someone wants to pay for this talent. Some people probably want Brian Burns, but probably not at the price that they're willing to pay. But I'm just the back of my mind with a firm, with a standing pat at the deadline, I'm thinking, hey, like, what do you, like you said, where are you, Scott Fitterer? Like, what have you brought to the table? What's your big claim to fame? Hayden Hurst has been a failure relative to what we've done. Miles Sanders has been a failure based on what we've done. Defense is hard to say because there's been a lot of injuries, but at least the ones that have been the big ticket items. Adam Thielen, I know we just talked about him in the QB school. He's been productive at least, but I mean, how many years do we have left of him? And so there's a lot of questions about their ability to bring in quality talent. It didn't used to be like that because they brought in Hassan Reddick at first. They brought in Stephon Gilmore, but since then, Frankie Lou has been their best pickup, and other than that, it's just been questionable picks at best.
And he was almost a throwaway. Like they were like, "How did you get?" Like he was a special teams guy. He came in as special team, and like, could you even say like, "Yeah, we got him"? Like, we don't know. Did you really think he could turn into this? I don't know. Maybe that's just part of just being lucky. But yeah, you're right. Like there's multiple ways I see it. I see it that they didn't want to lose picks for players, whether even if it was Hunter Renfrow for like a 6th or something like that or higher. They didn't want to get rid of picks. They also, or potentially the league just doesn't value the guys that we were putting out there. Like they don't value, like you mentioned TMJ, they don't value, Dante Jackson. I think Jeremy Chin was the most likely one that was going to be traded, and then he got a quad issue. I could have totally seen him being traded to the Eagles of all the squads. But when that didn't happen, they seemed pretty, firm on Brian Burns. Maybe a franchise tag could be in his future, but it just felt like there was like double indictments. Like we don't have enough draft picks to get guys because you traded them all away, and the guys that we have that you brought in, the rest of the league doesn't see them the way you say them talent wise. So that's like a double whammy on your scouting. It's like you're giving away picks that aren't working out, and the players that you got, some of them for picks, they're not working out either. We don't even like them. They're just nobodies. And so it's very interesting. And someone brought up on Twitter, I think it's one of the content creators out there saying that maybe Tepper and company realize that maybe Scott's not long for here, and the next GM, they don't want to leave him with an empty cabinet with no draft picks and no players to make moves within the offseason. What is your thought on that? Because I know Panthers culture is big on that, but if you're going to fire someone, do what the Raiders did and fire the head coach and the GM. And you can't. I don't know if you could fire Frank Reich, but do you like have him become the Jim Caldwell consultant role? And you got Thomas Brown, your head coach, with a new GM. Like, what is your thought on like the order of it? Because the Panthers seem to do it in separate orders.
Yeah. I mean, JJ and I at Panthers Culture talked about this a lot, but like in a dream world, like you mentioned, what the Raiders did a couple on Halloween nights at 1 in the morning Eastern, just clean house. JJ and I have always talked about like just cleaning house and starting. Like it feels like we've been in this half rebuild, half like we're turning the corner. Like if we probably just started from scratch, and maybe this is I know Pro Football Talk. Mike Florio talks about this a lot about Tepper's impatience, how like this gets him in trouble, and so. In a clean world, when they let go of Ron Rivera, when they had Matt Rule in, they should have just got rid of Marty Herney and just start a whole new regime, a whole new. But we've been mix matching different things. Oh, this sucks, so let's put another thing. Let's put, we fire Scott Fitter, let's put another GM with this Frank Reich. And so, again, it might be too late to let go of Frank Reich after year 1, but maybe after year 2, if we're not seeing results, like just clean the whole house and start a new philosophy, a new whatever. But it seems like we're mismatching players, philosophy, the Scott Fitterer's vision of acquiring talent on defense and offense match Frank Reich and the Giro Vera, right? Like it just seems like it's not congruent. It's all mismatched stuff. Maybe it still works. Again, we just talked about being poised for a win streak. So again, I'm not going to be down on it yet. But like if it goes downhill, if we end up being 1 in 16, that will creep into our minds. Well, why don't you just clean the house with everyone with parts that like fit together and go together? Doesn't work, then clean it all out again. But we're constantly in this like the coach is the problem. Okay, then we'll keep the GM. Okay, now we'll go to the GM but keep Matt Rule. Then let go of Matt Rule and keep Scott Fitter. Like it doesn't seem like it's herky jerky. It doesn't seem smooth. The operation feels imperfect, and part of it is like we just mentioned, Dave Tepper might be the impatient guy that just wants to like plug it. Like I said this in the off season. One thing that's very interesting to me is the difference between in the next 3 to 5 years, how do the Colts and Texans look compared to the Panthers? Because 2 different approaches. The Colts and the Texans went young head coach, relatively project quarterbacks and youth on their personnel acquisitions. The Panthers went exactly the opposite. Veteran coach, veteran staff, a ready-made quarterback, and they filled in with vets like Hayden Hurst and Adam Thielen and Miles Sanders as opposed to the youth movement. And so in 3 years, which way was better? I'm not going to say which one is better, or it's too early to tell which one is going to be the best. Obviously, if the Panthers win against the Colts this weekend, it was like, hey, the Panthers picked the right decision. But in 3 years, where does Anthony Richardson look like? What does CJ Stroud look like? How does the whole team look like under this new coach and this new young talent? Or was this the more prudent approach to just go all in every year with veterans? And it will be interesting to see like what ends up being the better approach.
I wonder if our division had anything to do with Tepper's impatience. Like, hey, every year the NFC South could be got. Like someone could do it, and it's not top heavy like in the AFC East or the AFC West or the AFC is just stacked. AFC, like if we're in the AFC West, it's like, all right, you know what? Chiefs got this. Let's just blow this up and then wait for Patrick Mahomes to get old, or Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce to break up, and it just destroys the whole franchise. Let's just wait for that. Let's just go all youth movement and then move up. I don't know. I wonder if it's that. But okay, let's switch gears. Winning streak, Colts. When I saw the schedule, I'm like, oh man, Bryce Young is going to go against C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, maybe Will Levis, and now we're not with Anthony Richardson. Ironically, the biggest quarterback in this draft. He's the one out. He's the one out with an injury for the rest of the season. Bryce Young still playing. Knock on wood. It's Gardner Minshew, right? He's a starting quarterback. I remember when Panthers people wanted Gardner Minshew as a quarterback. I remember that. We were thirsty, man. We were so desperate. That's what I mean. Anyone who says, "Oh, we traded for the first pick," and Bryce, I'm like, what did you want? What did you want? Did you want Derek Carr? Were you the guy who wanted Derek Carr? Like, anyways, but
yeah, look at Derek. Look at Derek Carr. Look at Deshaun Watson. Look at Russell Wilson. Like they were better off in this direction than those.
Yeah. Oh man, it's rough. It is rough. Poor Derek Carr. Poor Derek Carr. So yeah, what's your thoughts on this game? It's a Frank Reich revenge game, but he's a God fearing man. I don't think he thinks like that.
No.
But it's going to be indoors. Is this is the second game indoors, right? They had
It's gonna be
Atlanta.
at home,
Oh, it's at home. Oh my gosh, and it's at late. It's a late game. It's 1 o'clock
and it's
for
a late
you. Lucky
and it's a
you.
late game.
You can open
Yes.
a beer and not feel weird drinking the beer. So it's at home. So what is your thoughts on this game? I feel like the Panthers right now, at least on FanDuel, not sponsored by them. I think they're 2.5 point underdogs. I think that's an easy bet. I would take that. Or maybe pump it up to 3. But what's your thought on this game?
Yeah. Well, FanDuel, sponsor your boy Panthers Post. He's putting
Come
out great
on.
content. He's got so many followers. Let's do it. Um, it's easy to say they have the momentum. Back-to-back home games. They're missing Anthony Richardson. Even though the Panthers have had a terrible defense, the Colts have actually had a worse defense over the whole season than the Panthers. And so, like, if there's a chance to strike, like this is the one to strike at. Like, if you pick any other team, maybe the Cardinals, but other than that, like, there's no better get right momentum game than the Colts. Not to take them lightly, not to say that it's going to be an easy win, but you couldn't ask for better circumstances for a home game, coming off an emotional win, coming off uh, Bryce Young's first, inaugural win in his career, up against a revenge game at home, and try to win it for your head coach. I know you said that Frank Reich, and he said in this press conference, this is just another game to him. Obviously, he thinks about it, but it's not that type of game for him. But you I'm pretty darn sure, even though I'm not in the locker room, that those players want to win it for Frank Reich, and so like
Yeah.
they're going to be a little extra juice in this game. And
Mhm.
if they lose and it's a blowout, this is going to be super deflating. But there's no better chance than this weekend to get right, considering again they have a defense that's been struggling all season, that's worse than the Panthers, and on offense, fair or unfair, and right or wrong, like Frank Reich knows Sirianni, he knows this offense, he knows those players, and so there is a chance again to really gather momentum and make a definitive win this weekend against. There's no better situation I could think of that can get the Panthers their second win.
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah, the fact that they're at home and they don't have to worry about traveling, as you just mentioned to me, they're at home. I should have known that, but because this is one of those games I wanted to go to. That yeah, just the vibes. Hopefully, the vibes are still there, and the Colts their fans don't really travel that well, and so I don't see them taking over Bank of America Stadium. I think people are jacked. Like I don't know about you, like when the Panthers won, like I have this $100 NFLshop.ca gift card in like burning my while I'm waiting. And I'm like, I think now's the time. Gonna get a Bryce Young jersey. And I think a lot of people are just feeling they like winning. And even one of the Carolina Blitz reporters saying like, Charlotte's different when the Panthers win. And I'm like, I hope those vibes carry forward to this. And I just wish J.C. Horn was healthy. Like they're saying he's like 1 or 2 weeks away. But man, if he came back as well, like that would be an injection that I would want to like bottle up and sell, because that'd be great, because I think he can be a difference maker. He just can't stay healthy for gosh sakes. But yeah, I feel like the defense, the same way they stepped up for Bryce against the Houston Texans, I think they're going to do the same thing against Gardner Minshew and company. I don't like their receivers. I think not as explosive as what we saw with Tank Dell, who embarrassed people on Sunday. Is Jonathan Taylor playing? Is that guy still playing? He signed a big extension?
Yep, he's
and
playing.
So I think, yeah, and so I think he'll be tough. I think it's really Jonathan Taylor versus Carolina Panthers defense. I think that's gonna be a matchup to look at.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, they've been killing it on the ground, and the Panthers have struggled to stop the run. That's something that's been underrated from that last game against the Texans. We didn't hear anything really about Dameon Pierce, Devin Singletary. Like they barely compete, but normally the season, like again, I was at the Seattle game. It was just like, well, they're gonna run the ball. It's just like there's no stopping it at all. And so if they could put something on Jonathan Taylor or something to stop Zach Moss, then like they've got a chance. But if they can't stop the run, then we're gonna see the same old story again.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, and I'm also excited about Thomas Brown. Like I wonder, like if that. Yeah, I don't think he's talked to the media yet, but there were flashes definitely. We saw Adam Thielen in the backfield and all this stuff, and like, okay, he's getting a little crazy, getting a little sexy out there. I wonder if with even more time as the main play caller, will he pull out some more fun stuff to help scheme some guys open, help Bryce out a little bit, to make Bryce look as good as he had on Sunday. So I'm really interested to see that matchup. And then, I'd love to talk about the rest of the games, but like Chicago up against a Division II quarterback, most likely. I mean, you got like that Cinderella story ended quickly with that guy, unfortunately. And then I think is it the Cowboys and then the Titans?
Yep.
I mean, I think November could be kind of fun. Like, up against the Cowboys. Obviously, they're fan. That one's at home, right?
Which one, the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Cowboys at home.
Okay,
Cowboys
yeah. So their fans are going to take over, but they do that everywhere. I don't know. I feel like they can come to Carolina and kind of overlook the Panthers a little bit, and I think they could surprise them. And the Titans, they're kind of they're not in full rebuild because they didn't trade Derrick Henry and everybody like I thought they were going to. But Will Levis is looking kind of fiery right now. He's put a lot of mayonnaise in his coffee. He is jacked and ready to go. I think this month could be nice.
It could have been a Panther, Phil.
Yeah, I don't. Oh man, he definitely would have brought that collegiate atmosphere. I don't know how else to say it. That he's a bro. Like he's such a bro. Like he seems like he is a mainstay on either Pat McAfee or on Bussin' with the Boys. He's just like a bro that I would love to play beer pong with. I would love to be his friend. He'd be a fun dude. I feel like Bryce wouldn't be as fun. I feel like Bryce would be talking about like politics and like sipping on like apple juice, like non-alcoholic. Like I feel like, which is fine, but I don't know if I'd talk to him.
But you'd want Bryce to date your daughter.
Yes, I would. Date my daughter, and I'm like, even if he messed up a little bit, and there's some photos of him with someone else, like, hey, he's a great guy. He's fine. He's a good dude. Bryce.
He's the Canadian of the rookie quarterbacks, basically.
He really is. Wow, that's the first time I thought about that. He is so nice. That is true, which is funny because I'd love to see him and Chuba Hubbard chat. Because Chuba Hubbard doesn't feel like that nice of a guy. He's not even from Toronto, but he talks like Drake. I'm like, dude, you're not from Toronto. Like, why are you talking like that? Like, you're not on Top Boy. You're not from Toronto. Like, I don't know. But I love Chuba. I love he's our running back number one. Honestly, I think him and Raheem. I love Raheem Blackshear. I've been saying this is the preseason. I love the way that guy runs, the way he returns kicks as well. Okay, Badgar, I appreciate you. It's almost at 30 minutes. I'll let you go because I got to catch a train.